Hello, I'm Jason Kruger, and this is
Laura Bertagnolli. I'm a consulting CFO here at Signature Analytics.
And I'm the founder of Signature Analytics. And today we're going to be discussing what we call the generosity crisis within the nonprofit community. And what I mean by that is what we've seen a lot since COVID is organizations that had a real acceleration in the donations and contributions they received during the COVID period.
Absolutely.
They scaled up. There's a lot of work and a lot of good work that needs to be done. And then we saw a pretty significant drop off with a number of organizations in the level of funding that they were receiving since then. And so now they have this crisis of having built up their organization and the foundation of their business and organization, and now what do? What are we seeing?
Right. So now we're seeing that they maybe have a budget that's outsized on expenses, but then they have less revenue. So they really have to be pulling from any reserves that they have in order to have a balanced budget for the year. So they're looking at their staff, and they know that there's a lot of need in the community. In fact, the need hasn't dropped. The need is far greater even than it was, I would say, during the COVID time. But with that restricted in giving, you have to look at your organization and say, can we sustain this level of infrastructure?
Yeah.
And you may not be able to. And so that's where the budgeting process kind of comes in, really looking at your staffing, and because about 60% of an overall nonprofit's budget is in their staffing.
Yep.
And so it comes down to what kinds of services can we provide, and it's a difficult thing actually. When you see the need out there, you're not sure if you can meet it by yourself. And so we do even see some nonprofit organizations collaborating with other service providers, knowing that there is that great need, and how can they be more efficient in the service offering.
And what would you say that you've seen successful organizations, how have they navigated this successfully?
The way that I've seen them navigate it successfully is really have that great executive team and board engagement, where the board is really looking at the level of reserves that are required for the organization to be sustainable. So 3 to 6 months of reserves, and having that set reserve policy, and really acting on their fiduciary responsibility to make sure that there's good practices in place, and then a good, nice, clean budgeting process. That's that bottoms up approach that I've spoken about before, and then making sure that there's really a good way of forecasting and planning for cash flow, because you might have capital projects or things that you're working on that won't be inside typically your regular surplus and deficit budgeting, and that cash flow forecasting is critical to understand that you don't have to tap into those reserves in order to meet your general operating needs.